A broken warrior falls at a human's door. The wind howled through the alien night. The sky was dark purple, filled with flashes of silver lightning. Sharp rain fell like knives on the dry red soil. In the distance, something heavy crashed to the ground with a roar. Isaac heard it from inside his small shelter. He looked up from his tools. He had been fixing a broken panel near the power core. Outside, the storm grew louder. Something wasn't right. He grabbed his jacket, opened the door, and stepped out. The wind pushed against him hard. He squinted through the rain. Then he saw it. A tall figure was stumbling through the mud. Something huge, covered in armor, with glowing blue blood dripping from its side. It was not human. The figure took one more step, then fell. Isaac ran to it. As he got closer, he saw the details. It was a female alien warrior, strong, tall, with sharp claws and battle armor. Her body was shaking, and one of her arms was badly burned. Her breathing was rough. She looked up at him, eyes wide with pain and fear. "Please," she whispered. "Don't leave me alone tonight." Then she passed out at his feet. Isaac froze. He looked down at the warrior. She was from a feared alien species. Her kind didn't ask for help. They crushed planets and followed no rules. But this one was broken, alone, hurt. He hesitated for a moment, then slowly he bent down and lifted her. She was heavy, but he carried her inside. He placed her on the metal floor near the heater. Her armor was damaged and leaking strange fluids. Her face had a long scar across the cheek, and her skin was pale gray, glowing faintly under the lights. Isaac locked the door and went to get supplies. He returned with water, cloth, and his medkit. He didn't know alien biology well, but he had learned a few things during the war. He carefully cleaned her wounds. Her breathing stayed steady, but her body twitched now and then, as if remembering a fight. As he worked, he noticed something strange. The inside of her armor was lined with broken symbols. Some were warning signs, but others looked like prison marks. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a prisoner. Or maybe an exile. An hour passed. She slowly opened her eyes. She looked at him. Neither of them spoke for a long time. "You're human," she said at last, her voice rough like gravel. Isaac nodded. "Yeah, name's Isaac. You crashed near my shelter." Her eyes searched his face. "Why did you bring me in? You asked me not to leave you alone." She turned her head away, ashamed. "I was weak. Forget that." He sat down near the wall. "It's okay. We all break sometimes." She looked at him again, studying him carefully. "Your kind fears mine." "Yeah," he replied. "And with good reason." She gave a dry, broken laugh. "Then you are brave, or stupid." He didn't answer. The heater hummed. Outside, thunder echoed across the hills. Finally, she sat up, slow and stiff. Her hands trembled slightly. She looked at the small fire he had made. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "Nothing," Isaac said. She blinked. "Then why are you helping me?" "Because no one should die alone in a storm." She didn't reply. Instead, she pulled her knees to her chest and sat in silence, staring at the flames. Time passed. Neither of them moved. Late into the night, Isaac dozed off in his chair. When he woke up, the fire was low, but the alien warrior was no longer across the room. She was sitting closer now, just a few feet away. Her head rested against the wall. Her eyes were closed, but her breathing was calm. She had moved herself, near him. A soft sound escaped her lips. Not a word, not a growl, just peace. He stared at her in the dim light. This alien, this warrior who had once brought fear to entire systems, now sat at his side like a lost soul in need of warmth. As he watched, he noticed something glowing faintly on her wrist, a symbol made of light. It wasn't there before. He leaned in. The symbol pulsed once, then faded. His heart skipped a beat. "What?" Had he just done? What had she become? She watches him sleep and smells his loyalty. The fire had gone cold. Moonlight from the alien sky slipped through the metal cracks in the ceiling, casting soft blue shadows across the room. Isaac lay sleeping on a thin bedroll, one arm across his chest, the other resting near the small plasma torch he always kept close. He didn't know she was awake. She had not slept since the moment he closed his eyes. The alien warrior sat cross-legged across from him, unmoving like a statue. Her wounds still ached, but her senses were sharp. Sharper than they'd been in days. She watched him with a stare that didn't blink. In her world, sleep was weakness. Lowering one's guard was death. And yet, this human had helped her. Even after seeing her claws, her armor, her kind. Why? His face twitched as he dreamed. Something in his mind was restless. She leaned forward quietly, her long hair falling across her shoulder like black silk. Her nose twitched, catching his scent again. There it was. Not fear, not betrayal, not the scent of prey. It was something ancient, something sacred to her people, something even her own kind had long forgotten. Loyalty. It clung to him like warmth, like a memory, like the scent of someone who stands and never runs. She lowered her head slowly as if listening to his heartbeat. The glow of the strange mark on her wrist flickered again. The same mark that had appeared when he touched her blood with his. She didn't understand it yet, but part of her did. This wasn't random. He wasn't random. She reached toward him without thinking. Her hand hovered over his chest. His breath was steady, calm, gentle. So different from the warriors she'd trained beside, the ones who laughed while burning cities, who killed without care. His chest rose once, then again, and suddenly, his hand snapped up and grabbed her wrist. His eyes opened wide and alert. They stared at each other, her hand still above his heart, his fingers still locked around her wrist. Neither moved. For a moment, the only sound was the faint crackle of a dying fire and the wind howling outside the metal walls. Then, finally, Isaac spoke. His voice was calm, but tired. "You're watching me sleep now?" She didn't answer. "Were you planning to kill me?" Her eyes narrowed. "If I wanted you dead, you'd be ash already." "Not very comforting," he muttered, letting go of her wrist. She pulled away, slow and careful. "You're not like the others," she said quietly. He sat up, rubbing his face. "Others?" "Humans. The ones in the camps. The ones who trade flesh for food. The ones who fear anything that moves." Isaac frowned. "I was a mechanic. I didn't fight in your war, but you didn't run from me either." He looked at her. "Should I have?" "Yes," she said simply. He chuckled dryly. "Maybe I'm stupid." She stared at him longer, then shook her head. "No, you're something else. Your scent says it." "My scent?" She didn't explain. Instead, she stood up slowly, her long form rising like a shadow from the ground. "You carry a loyalty in your blood, a truth. My kind would smell it in battle, before a worthy death." "Is that good?" She turned to the window and stared into the rain. "It's dangerous," she said. He stood up beside her. "Who were you before all this?" Her jaw tightened. "I was bred for war, born in fire, trained to command, then betrayed. By your own people? By blood," she said bitterly. "My brother, he wanted the throne. I refused to kill for it." Isaac leaned against the wall. "So they threw you out? They called it exile. I call it mercy." Her voice broke slightly. A long silence followed. Then she asked, "Why are you here, alone on this world?" "Same reason, I guess," Isaac replied. "They told me I was no longer useful. I used to fix ships. After the war, nobody needed a fixer, just soldiers or slaves." "So we're both trash?" she asked coldly. He smiled a little. "Maybe." Her eyes flicked toward his again. And for the first time, she smiled too. It was small, almost invisible, but it was real. They stood in silence for a long time. Then the power flickered. They both turned sharply. A warning signal blinked red near the entrance. Someone was coming. "Who is it?" she whispered. Isaac checked the monitor. A ship was descending nearby. Fast. Heavy. "I don't know," he said. "But they're not friendly." She stepped away from the window and walked toward her gear. Even injured, she moved like a blade. Her claws clicked against the floor as she picked up a weapon. "If they're coming for me," she said, "you should run." "Not this time," he replied, grabbing his tool belt and an old blaster. She looked at him, surprised. "Why?" she asked. He looked into her eyes and said calmly, "Because I don't leave people alone in storms." The mark on her wrist flared bright. This time, she didn't hide it. The blood mark appears, and she refuses to leave him. The air was heavy with silence. Outside, the storm had passed, but the sky was still dark. The alien clouds floated like ash over the hills, and the sun had not returned. Inside the shelter, the heater hummed softly, trying to keep the cold out. Isaac sat at the table, staring at the small scanner. The ship that landed earlier had gone quiet. No message. No movement. Just stillness. "They're watching us," he said quietly. The alien warrior stood nearby, her tall frame pressed against the wall, her arms crossed. She had removed her damaged chest armor, revealing old scars on her side, some fresh, some faded. Her muscles were tight. Every part of her was ready to fight. "They will wait for nightfall," she said. "Then they'll come. They always come in the dark." Isaac looked up. "You fought them before?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked over to his toolkit and picked up a small blade. She examined it like it was a toy. "They don't just want me," she said finally. "They want what's in my blood. What's in your blood?" She opened her palm and dragged the blade across it, just a shallow cut. Her blood flowed out in glowing blue lines, like liquid light. "My clan's line carries ancient power," she whispered. "Only passed to one daughter every 100 years. I was chosen. I was also rejected." Isaac rushed over and grabbed a cloth to stop the bleeding. "Don't hurt yourself just to prove something." But as his hand touched hers, something strange happened. A sudden shock spread through his fingers. Not pain, but heat. Deep, warm, glowing heat. Their blood, hers and his, touched for a moment. And then the mark returned. Not on her wrist, this time, but on his chest. Isaac stumbled back, gripping his shirt. The mark burned under his skin, spirals and curves like alien writing. Glowing red and gold. Her eyes widened. "No," she whispered. "No. No, no." "What is this?" Isaac asked, breathing fast. She looked at him like she was staring at a ghost. "You carry my blood now," she said. "You touched it with purpose. The mark has chosen you." "I didn't mean to." "It doesn't matter," she snapped. "The mark is ancient. It binds two warriors. To protect, to fight, to die together. It cannot be broken." Isaac stared at her. "I'm not a warrior. You are now." She walked away, trembling. Her legs were strong, but her steps shook. She was scared, not of him, but of what this meant. Isaac followed. "What happens now?" "You are mine," she said without looking at him. "Not as a slave, not as a pet, not even as a friend. You are bound to me. The blood mark is sacred. It makes me your shield, and you my last purpose." He laughed nervously. "That sounds romantic and terrifying." "It is." Suddenly the alarm blinked again. This time, it wasn't just one ship. 3 more dots appeared on the scanner. "They're calling reinforcements," Isaac said. She walked to the door, grabbed a long weapon from the rack, a curved alien blade that seemed to hum in her hand. "Then we must leave," she said. "Leave? Go where?" "Anywhere but here. The blood mark will draw them. They will never stop. Not until we are ash." "Why? Just because I touched your blood?" She looked at him again. softer this time. Because the mark says you are worthy, and that shames them. He paused. You could go alone. They don't want me. They want you. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes burned. No, she said, I will not leave you. Why not? Because I have lost everything. My title, my clan, my honor. But when I was broken, you didn't leave me alone. Now, I will do the same. Isaac grabbed his old pack and threw it over his shoulder. You don't have to do this. I already have. As they stepped out of the shelter, the wind bit their faces. Far off in the sky, small lights flickered. Enemy ships circling like wolves. The alien warrior touched her blade to the mark on his chest. It pulsed once. Then she whispered something in her own tongue. Something sacred. What did you just say? He asked. She smiled. I promised the stars that if you fall, I will burn the world that dares to harm you. Isaac looked up at her, heart pounding. You're serious. Completely. They ran toward the rocks beyond the hill, into the wasteland, into the unknown, and somewhere above them. The hunters followed. They come for her. But he stands in the way. Night fell like a slow curtain. The alien moons rose together, casting silver light over the dry hills and jagged rocks. Isaac and the warrior moved through the shadows, silent as ghosts. Behind them, the sky buzzed with the hum of hunters. Their ships hovered above the ground like birds of death, searching. They had been running for hours. Isaac's legs were tired, his chest ached. The heat from the blood mark pulsed with every heartbeat like a second soul trapped inside him. But he didn't stop. She moved ahead of him, always watching, always listening. Her blade never left her hand. Her long black hair blew in the wind. Even wounded, she was stronger than anything Isaac had ever seen. But something had changed. She wasn't just a warrior anymore. She looked back to check on him. Her eyes weren't cold. Not now. They were worried. We need cover, she said. There's a canyon not far. How far? He asked, panting. 2 ridges past the ruin stones. Easy, he said, though his legs trembled. They reached the ruins, a field of broken alien statues half buried in sand. Tall shapes with open mouths and empty eyes. Isaac had never seen anything like them. Even she slowed down, looking around with quiet respect. This place, she whispered. This was built before my people rose, before blood ruled our stars. Is it safe? No. But it remembers what came before us. It may help. They ducked behind one of the largest statues, shaped like a weeping woman with wings. Isaac sat down and drank from his flask. The alien warrior stood watch, blade ready. Then it happened. A sound filled the sky, a deep horn-like note, followed by a sharp beam of red light slicing down from above. The beam hit the ground far from them, but its meaning was clear. They were being called out. Isaac looked up. 3 ships circled overhead, shining lights into the ruins. They know we're here, he said. They want me to come willingly, she answered. They think I'm afraid. Isaac looked at her. Are you? She didn't reply. Instead, she knelt beside him and looked into his eyes. If I go out there, she said, they'll take me. They'll try to erase this bond. So not without killing you, Isaac blinked. So it's me or you? No, she said, standing. It's us, or them. Before he could respond, a voice echoed across the ruins. Alien traitor, surrender now. Step away from the human. They both turned. 3 tall figures in black armor stood at the edge of the ruins. Each one held a plasma spear glowing with heat. Their helmets hid their faces, but their posture said everything. They came to capture, not talk. The leader stepped forward. You do not belong with him, the voice said. This bond is false. Your blood is wasted. Return to your people and we may show mercy. The warrior stepped forward slowly, but Isaac grabbed her wrist. What are you doing? I'm ending this. You said they'll kill me. They will if we wait. She raised her weapon, but Isaac stepped in front of her. His voice shook, but he stood tall. Wait. She stared at him. Move. No, he said. They don't get to erase what you are. They'll cut you down. Then let them see who I am. He turned to face the black armored soldiers. She's not going with you, he said. She's not your prisoner anymore. The soldiers laughed. Even with helmets on, it sounded cruel. And what will you do, little human? You hold no weapon. Isaac reached into his belt and pulled out a plasma torch. Old, scratched, weak, but still burning. I fix broken things, he said. And right now, you're broken. Step aside. Isaac didn't move. The leader raised his spear, but before he could throw it, she was there. The alien warrior moved faster than lightning. Her blade flashed in the moonlight, slicing through air and metal. In seconds, she was in front of Isaac, shielding him with her entire body. The first spear struck her shoulder. Sparks flew. She didn't fall. She roared. The ruins echoed with the sound of her voice. Ancient stones cracked. Statues trembled. And then, she fought. She moved like fury, given shape. Her blade met theirs in a dance of fire and death. Isaac could barely breathe as he watched. She was outnumbered, wounded, smaller than them, but she never gave in. He saw her bleed. He saw her burn. But he also saw her win. The last hunter fell to the ground, his weapon broken, armor split. He tried to crawl away, begging. She walked up to him, raised her blade, then stopped. Go, she said. Tell the others. If they come for him again, I will erase their stars. The hunter fled. She dropped to her knees. Isaac rushed to her side. Blood poured down her arm. He caught her before she fell completely. I told you not to stand in the way, she said, eyes half closed. And I told you I wouldn't leave you, he whispered. She leaned against him, breathing hard. The mark on his chest glowed again. So did hers. Together, they pulsed as one. The cave of truth. And her tears fall like fire. The night was colder now. Isaac held her close as they moved across the rocky hills. The battle had ended, but her wounds had not. She was bleeding from her side, her steps slow, her breath sharp and shallow. Yet she said nothing, only pointed ahead with a trembling finger. Just a little further, she whispered. We're close. To what? Isaac asked. To where the truth lives. They reached a steep slope where the earth split open like a giant scar. At the bottom was a narrow cave, hidden by dead vines and stone teeth. Cold air spilled out from the crack, thick with dust and something older, like forgotten prayers. She pressed her hand against the rock. Symbols lit up beneath her skin, symbols the cave remembered. The stone opened. Inside was silence. Deep, sacred silence. The cave was long, winding, and shaped like a spiral. Walls covered in carvings told stories. In lines of fire, glowing marks moved slowly like they were alive. Isaac followed her deeper inside, the torchlight flickering behind them. Then the cave opened into a great chamber. A giant statue stood in the center. A woman with 4 arms, wings folded behind, her back and tears carved into her stone cheeks. In her hands she held a blade and a broken crown. Who is that? Isaac asked quietly. The warrior stepped forward, her voice soft and cracked. My mother. Isaac blinked. Your real mother? She nodded. High commander of our people, keeper of the blade, daughter of the first flame. She ruled with honor until they poisoned her. Isaac looked around. The chamber glowed with gentle fire from the walls. Old bones rested near the statue, covered in sacred cloth. This place, it's her tomb? No, she said. This is her truth, her real memory, what the Empire erased. She walked to the statue and knelt before it. Her hand touched the base. Her fingers traced the carving of a young girl beside the warrior. Queen. That was me, she whispered. You were royalty, Isaac said, stunned. I was meant to lead, not through bloodshed, but through unity. What happened? She closed her eyes. Tears began to fall, silent at first, then shaking her whole body. "I refuse to kill the innocent," she said. "I refuse to destroy the weak. They said I was soft, unfit. My brother challenged me for the right to lead. I defeated him, but I spared him." "And that mercy became your crime," Isaac said quietly. She nodded. "He used my mercy to turn the council against me. Said I was cursed. Said I broke the warrior code." She pointed at the mark on Isaac's chest. That mark was once a royal bond, used only by queens to protect those they trusted with their life. Now, they fear it. And you think, it chose me? I know it did. She stood, turning to him. Her eyes were glowing now, wet from tears, but burning with something stronger. "You touched my blood with kindness," she said. "You stood between me and death. You didn't have to. No oath, no bond, no blade forced you." Isaac stepped forward. "I did it because no one should face the storm alone." "Then you are more warrior than any I've known." They stood, together beneath the statue. The firelight reflected in the tear-carved stone face above them. Suddenly the cave trembled. "What is that?" Isaac asked, reaching for his torch. "The cave reacts to truth," she said. "It listens. It remembers." The statue's chest began to glow. The stone cracked open, and inside was a sealed object wrapped in old cloth. She reached in and pulled it free, a long black blade. It shimmered like water. Weightless, deadly, alive. "This is her blade," she said. "Forged in the sun heart. Only passed to one chosen by blood and truth." She turned to Isaac. "This is yours." His eyes widened. "Me? The cave has spoken, the mark has chosen. Now you must carry it." "But I don't know how to fight like you." "You don't need to fight like me," she said, placing the blade in his hands. "You only need to stand as you are." As he gripped the blade, it pulsed. The mark on his chest lit up again, brighter than ever. The cave walls echoed with a deep hum as if something old had awakened. Then her expression changed. She staggered, her hand going to her side. "You're bleeding too much," Isaac said. "You need rest." "No," she said, coughing. "They're coming again. The Empire won't stop. Not now." "How many?" "A full squad. Maybe more." "Then, we fight here?" "No," she whispered, leaning on him. "We go to the last gate. The sacred peak. That's where I make my stand. And if they follow?" She looked up at him with fire in her eyes. "Then let the stars watch, because I will burn the sky before I let them touch you." Isaac held her close. They stood beneath the statue, an old queen's memory, and a new story beginning. Her tears fell again. But this time, they were not for pain. They were for hope. Her. People find them, and call him unworthy. The wind was sharp at the peak. Snow fell slowly from an alien sky, not like Earth's snow. This was blue, thin as ash, melting before it touched the ground. The sacred mountain stood above the clouds, its stone paths carved by generations of warriors long gone. The air carried silence, but also pressure, like something was watching. Isaac stood at the edge of the high stone platform, the queen's, blade in his hand wrapped in old cloth. Beside him, the alien warrior leaned against a tall pillar, breathing hard. Her wounds had reopened during the climb. Every step had been pain. But she never asked him to stop. They had reached the last gate. This place, this ancient circle of pillars and fire bowls, was her birthright. And now, it would be her battlefield. Isaac looked down the slope. They were coming. One by one, dark ships dropped from the sky like claws. Elite warriors in black armor stepped out, weapons drawn, banners glowing with her family's crest, but stained, red, a mark of death. Leading them was a tall figure. His armor was sharper than the others, carved with gold lines and blood sigils. His voice echoed before he even reached them. "Traitor?" She raised her head. "Brother?" He stepped closer, removing his helmet. His face was clean, proud, cruel. His eyes burned with disgust the moment they landed on Isaac. "Is this what you protect now?" he asked. "A human? A weak, filthy, planetless beast?" Isaac didn't speak. He had heard that tone before, in the war, in the cities, in the silence after bombs. The warrior took one step forward, but stumbled. Isaac caught. Her brother raised an eyebrow. "Look at you. Once the strongest of us, now leaning on prey. Say what you want," she hissed. "But this prey stood for me when you did not." He smirked. "How touching. Shall we carve that on his grave?" Isaac let go of her and stepped forward. His voice was steady. "You can insult me. You can even kill me. But you don't get to erase what she is." "She is nothing now," the brother said. "A fallen warrior. Her blade broken. Her name cursed." "Wrong," Isaac said. "She's more than any of you, and you know it." The soldiers laughed. The brother looked amused. "You speak boldly for one so replaceable." "I'm not here to impress you," Isaac replied. "Then what are you here for?" "I'm here," he said, unwrapping the blade, "because she didn't leave me to die, because she showed me what honor looks like, because she still believes in something." The brother stared at the blade. His face changed. Shock. Then anger. "Where did you get that?" he growled. "From the cave of truth," Isaac said. "It chose me." "A lie," the brother shouted. "Only blood of the queen may carry it." "Maybe truth runs deeper than blood," Isaac said calmly. The wind howled. Snow whipped around them. The brother raised his hand. "You are not worthy." He signaled to his men. 6 warriors stepped forward. "Strip him of the blade, bind him, make him kneel." Isaac gripped the blade tight. His knees shook. But he didn't move. He looked at her, his alien warrior. She tried to rise, but her body failed her. Her mouth opened. Weak. Pained. "Run," she whispered. But Isaac didn't. As the first warrior reached for him, he lifted the blade. It hummed. Fire lit around its edge. Gold fire, not from this world. It burned the air. The warrior stepped back, confused. Then the blade pulsed. The mark on Isaac's chest flared bright. A shock wave spread from his body, pushing the soldiers back. He didn't even understand how he had done it. He just believed. The brother froze. "This is impossible." The alien warrior finally stood. Her voice cracked with fury. "He is not your prey," she said. "He is my bond. Chosen by the mark, by the blade, by the truth your hands could never hold. Then you'll both burn," the brother spat. He charged. Isaac raised the blade, but the brother was fast, too fast. In a blink, the brother was on him. He grabbed Isaac by the throat and slammed him into the ground. The blade flew from Isaac's hand. Blood filled Isaac's mouth. His vision blurred. The warrior screamed, but the brother kicked her aside. He stood over Isaac, raising his blade. "This is what loyalty gets you," he growled. "Death beside the weak." And then, she roared, not in fear, not in pain, but in rage. The sky cracked. Lightning flashed. She rose, bleeding, broken, wild, and she charged. Not with a blade, but with her heart. She slammed into her brother, knocking him back. They crashed into the stone floor. Sparks flew. She grabbed the royal blade from the ground and held it in both hands, her eyes locked on Isaac. "Live," she said, and turned back to fight her blood. She cries in the dark. Until he wakes and whispers her name, the wind had stopped. Smoke rose gently from the sacred peak, curling into the frozen sky like the last breath of something ancient. Ash covered the stones. Blood soaked the snow. The battle was over, but silence now ruled the mountain, and she was alone. She dropped to her knees beside his body. Isaac lay still, eyes closed, his chest barely rising. The royal blade had fallen from his hand, now resting beside him like a forgotten crown. His skin was pale, lips cracked. The mark on his chest flickered, fading. "No," she whispered. "No, not you." Her claws trembled as they touched his face. "You're not allowed to leave me," she said, voice breaking. You promised." The others were gone. Her brother lay defeated, his soldiers scattered, shamed by her power and the bond that had protected them both. The sky above had watched in silence as truth shattered old laws. But now, with victory cold in her hands, her heart felt hollow. "I was never meant to rule," she whispered to the wind. "I was never meant to love." A soft snowflake landed on Isaac's cheek. She leaned close, pressing her forehead to his just like she once did when she first studied his scent. "I gave everything away," she said, "for one moment, for one human, and I would do it again." Then she whispered her name, her real name, not her warrior name, not her battle name, a name no one had spoken in years, a name only her mother used to call her, Sarai. The cave, stone behind them glowed, the wind stirred, and the mark on Isaac's chest burned bright. His fingers twitched, a breath escaped his lips, soft, slow, real. She gasped and pulled back, staring at him. "Isaac?" His eyes opened, weak but alive. His voice was a whisper, cracked but full of something stronger than before. "Sarai." Her heart shattered, but it didn't break from pain. It broke from relief. She fell forward, wrapping her arms around him. Her body shook. Her tears returned, hot and heavy, but this time they didn't fall like fire. They fell like rain after a long, endless drought. "You came back," she whispered. "I never left," he said, forcing a smile. "You kept me here." "You stubborn, foolish human," she said, half laughing, half crying. "You almost died." "But I didn't," he replied, reaching up to touch her face. "Because you didn't let go." She leaned into his hand, closing her eyes. Around them the stones began to hum. A soft light poured from the mountain walls, wrapping them in a quiet glow. The ancestors had witnessed everything. The sacred peak now held new truth, a bond that no law could erase. She helped him sit up. Their backs rested against the broken pillar. The stars blinked above like curious eyes. "What happens now?" Isaac asked. She looked at the distant ships retreating beyond the sky. "They'll return," she said, "with more blades, more fear, more lies. And us?" She smiled. "We will be waiting." He looked at her, then asked something he had never dared before. "Will you tell me everything? Your past, your future, your people?" She nodded. "Only if you tell me yours." He chuckled weakly. "It's not that exciting." "To me," she said, "it's everything." They sat there side by side, watching the sunrise climb slowly over the dead stars. In that light, she reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. "The galaxy won't understand us," she said. "Then let it try," he replied. Their fingers laced together. No crown, no blade, no war songs, just two souls, bonded not by blood or command, but by choice. She looked at him once more. "Please," she whispered, her voice soft and shaking like it had been that first night. "Please, don't leave me alone tonight." He smiled and pulled her closer. "Never again," he said, and the stars above seemed to glow a little brighter, because for the first time in 1,000 years, a warrior found peace, and a human found home.